Okay, I'm at 5 Crescent Lane with Toni Sabella. Toni is a new resident here. Toni, how long have you been living here?
Little over a year.
A little over a year. And this house has a grinder pump right here, and there's the alarm panel. So I got an email from Toni because one of her neighbors gave her my email, and so I contacted her to find out how is the Chelmsford grinder pump program doing with new residents when they come to buy a house with a grinder pump. So I wanted to ask Toni if she could tell us, when you went to buy this house with the grinder pump, what did you think when you first saw that green cover on the ground there?
So they had told me at some point that there was no more sewer and that it had tied into the town.
You mean no more septic?
No more septic, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And tied into the town, but I was out here with my realtor asking, what is this device on the ground? And
Yep.
she wasn't sure. She thought that maybe it was the sewer system.
Okay.
Connection to the sewer system.
Yeah. How about this alarm panel over here?
We didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And what was your realtor's name?
Janet Vino,
And what realty was she from?
Coldwell Banker.
Caldwell Banker.
Yeah.
And you said that she was a realtor in Chelmsford?
Yes. I'm not sure if she made the transition to Carlisle at that time, but she had been in Chelmsford. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Still the same company, though.
Right. So, when did you find out that this was a pump driven by an electric motor?
So I had a series of questions after I had signed the purchase and sale. Sometime before the closing, I finally had a list of questions to ask the owner through
Yep.
an email, and she answered that question, and the answer was that the town took care of it, but she wasn't very familiar with it. Just that the town took care of it.
Did you have this property inspected as part of purchasing the property?
I did, yes.
And what did your inspector have to say about the grinder pump?
No, there was no information on it at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you ever have opportunity to check the town's assessor's website, which has the detail of the property, the plot plan, the amenities of the house, the type of heating it has?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was able to look at the plot plan. Actually, my realtor sent me the plot plan picture. I went on to the assessor site to look at the specs of the home and everything.
Yeah. And what did you find there about the grinder pump?
There wasn't anything there.
Okay.
No evidence of anything.
I see. So you didn't find out that this was a grinder pump until after you signed your purchase and sale,
Yeah.
and before the closing of the
Before
house.
the closing, we finally had a name for it, grinder pump, yes.
Yeah.
But we didn't, initially it was, I don't know, it must go take the water to the street.
Yeah. And when did you learn that the grinder pump will not operate during a power outage?
Just recently, my neighbor in this last storm that we had, late October, November of 2017, my neighbor come over and said to me, how did you do with, did you have any problems with your pump backflowing? And I said, what? I had no idea that anything like that could even happen. I didn't realize that this was similar to a septic system sort of arrangement. And he then informed me how I could become more familiar by giving me your name, and that's how I got to you today.
The pump runs on electricity.
Yeah,
Now,
I had no idea.
as part of the Chelmsford grinder pump program, the town has said that every new homeowner with a grinder pump receives the grinder pump user and maintenance sheet mailed to that house. So why didn't you find out about this grinder pump from that sheet of paper?
That's a good question. I got information in the mail by the water department, but I never received any information about the grinder pump.
Okay, well, I'm going to forward this information back to the sewer department because one of their responsibilities is to mail out to the new homeowners the grinder pump information sheet, which has operation and maintenance suggestions about what to put down the drain and things like that, or what not to put down the drain, I should say. Well, let's see now. So, did you know, for example, that okay, so this is driven by electricity. So during a power outage, it has about a 40-gallon reserve, and the water will start backing up in that. Did you know that you can contact the town? They have portable generators that they can bring out and pump out the water from the grinder pump.
No, I did not know that either.
Yeah, that has recently been posted on the town sewer's website, and that could be useful for a new homeowner during a power outage such as you went through on October 30th to
Yes.
November 1st of this year.
Right, to avoid the backup.
Exactly. You could have got a backup, not knowing that the pump ran on electricity. When I heard your story, this sounds a lot like a Me Too story from Rachel Zeminski, because your experience is really word for word. But what happened to her when she bought a house with a grinder pump, only that was before the Chelmsford grinder pump program went in place, and there was a lot of talk from various people in town that after the grinder pump program went in place, realtors would not have to hide the presence of the electric motor-driven pump under that cover. This cover is routinely referred to as the connection to the sewer system. And
Yes, exactly.
and that's exactly the information that you received until after you had signed your purchase and sale.
Yes. I will say, the only other thing is, once I was close to the closing, I inquired again about the grinder pump and wanted to be sure that I had explicit information understanding what my responsibility was, and I was given a website. But going to that website, it was not, I was not understanding the information that I was totally responsible for that.
And before, where did you move from before you came to Chelmsford?
Boxford.
Boxford. And before you moved to Chelmsford, did you ever hear of a grinder pump?
Absolutely not.
Did you know what that meant, a grinder pump?
No.
No, okay.
No, not familiar at all.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's quite typical. Okay, thank you, Toni.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's
Yep.
cold out here, so I want to get
Okay.
back inside.